The Legend of La Llorona.
Spanish for a weeping woman has been a part of Hispanic culture in the Southwest since the olden days. The tall, thin spirit is said to be blessed with natural beauty and long, flowing black hair. She wears a white gown and roams the rivers and creeks, bowing into the night and searching for children to drag, screaming, taking them off to a watery grave. Another legend says that La Llorona was a caring woman full of life and love, who married a wealthy man who lavished her with gifts and attention. However, after she bore him 2 sons, he began to change, returning to a life of womanizing and alcohol, often leaving her for months at a time. He seemingly no longer cared for the beautiful Maria, even though about leaving her to marry a woman of his own wealthy class. When he did return home, it was only to visit his children, and the devastated Maria began to feel resentment towards the boys. One evening, as Maria was strolling with her 2 children on a shady path near the river, her husband came by in a carriage with an elegant lady beside him. He stopped and spoke to his children, but ignored Maria, and then drove the carriage down the road without looking back. After seeing this, Maria went into a terrible rage, and turning against her children, she seized and threw them into the river. As they disappeared down the stream, she realized what she had done and ran down the bank to save them. But it was too late. Maria broke down in consolable grief, running down the streets, screaming and wailing. The beautiful La Llorona warned them day and night. During this time, she would not eat and only walk along the river in her white gown, searching for her boys, hoping they would come back to her. She cried endlessly as she roamed the riverbanks, and her gown became soiled and torn. When she refused to eat, she grew thinner and appeared taller, until she looked like a walking skeleton. Still a young woman, she finally died on the banks of the river. Not long after her death, her restless spirit began to appear, walking the banks of the Santa Fe River when darkness fell. Her weeping and wailing became a curse of the night, and people began to be afraid to go out after dark. She was said to have been seen drifting between the trees along the shoreline or floating on the current with her long white gown spread out upon the waters. On many dark nights, people would see her walking along the riverbank and crying for her children. And so, they no longer spoke of her as Maria, but rather La Llorona, known as the Weeping Woman. Children were warned not to go out in the dark, for La Llorona might snatch them, throwing them to their deaths in the flowing waters. Though the legends vary, the apparition is said to act without hesitation or mercy. The tales of her cruelty depends on the versions of the legend you hear. Some say that she kills indiscriminately, taking men, women, and children. Whoever is foolish enough to get close to her. Others say she is very barbaric and kills only children. As seen by a family from New Mexico, they were sitting outside talking. They saw a tall, thin woman walking along the creek. She then seemed to float over the water, starting up the hill and vanished. However, just moments later, she reappeared much closer to them, and then disappeared yet again. The family looked for footprints, and finding none, they no doubt that they had seen the woman, La Llorona. She has been seen along many rivers across the entire Southwest. and the legend has become part of Hispanic culture everywhere. Part of the legend is that those who do not treat their families well will see her, and she will teach them a very valuable lesson. In Santa Fe, New Mexico, the tall, willing spirit has been seen repeatedly in the Public Employees Retirement Association, which is built on land that was once an old Spanish Indian graveyard and near the Santa Fe River. Many people who have been employed there tell of hearing cries resounding through the halls and feeling unseen hands pushing them while on the stairways. La Llorona has been heard at night wailing next to the rivers by many, and her wanderings have grown wider, following Hispanic people wherever they go. Her movements have been traced throughout the Southwest and as far north as Montana on the banks of the Yellowstone River. The Hispanic people believe the weeping woman will always be with them, following the many rivers, looking for her children, and for this reason, many of them fear the dark and pass the legend from generation to generation.
All of this is research filmed on the internet.